are again, and I'm now finishing the third side. I had to change my clamping arrangement a little bit to make it a bit more solid, and I added this adjustable parallel, a very handy adjustable parallel. I use them as slip gauges and set in for sign bars, measuring on the surface plate. Another handy thing I have as well is the shaper gauge. If you haven't got slip gauges or stuff like that, then they're pretty handy. You see them on eBay, relatively cheap. I have lots of oddball blocks that are surface ground square that were maybe built for a particular punch or a jig, and they probably didn't work out maybe on sizing, so you just throw them in your toolbox rather than throw them away. And so all this here, this is a block that's been ground square. There's another block underneath here that's ground square. This angle plate, this little angle plate that I've got here was a punch that didn't work out for some particular reason, and so they all come in handy. You measure them and you stack them up, and hopefully you can get the size that you want or the measurement you want. So if you can't, you stick them on top of a shaper gauge and you use your dial indicator. There's so many ways that you can achieve what you want. You don't always have to have the right equipment. I mean, this is just hobby work anyway. If you've got lots of money, you can buy yourself all the equipment you want, or make it, I guess. Where could you buy one of these? A small dividing head like that? You can't. Very, very seldom anything comes up on eBay of this size or caliber. So a lot of the stuff you make yourself, and it takes a while, but it's all worthwhile in the end. And it's for the newcomer, it's experience. You certainly learn by your mistakes, or you should do. Oh, probably another 60 or 80 thou to go. So 20 thou cut. Gotta take it easy now, I think. 10th thou cut. When I was at Ranco, the dies that we built there, they would go into the press shop and they'd run 100,000, 120, 140,000 components, and then they'd come out for regrinds and repair. And we had 4 nice Shipman 540 grinders, surface grinders there, beautiful machines, and we used to make our own punches. So the punches would be made in the lathe with a tail on and a point on the punch end, and then it would go into a punch grinder, and all these surfaces would be machined, and some of the punches were only a 30 second diameter, 30 thou, and of course you have to grind that 30 thou down. You have to grind the tip right off, one of the things that we used to use there was plasticine, and we'd stick the punch in a V-block and have it sticking up vertically, and then we'd pack some plasticine around the tip, down the shank at the top of the V-block, and then we could take a 1/4 inch side cut off the punch, the tip of the punch, without breaking it. And it was only the plasticine that allowed us to do that. So that's another tip. If you're in the lathe and you're boring something out, if you can, and it's vibrating or chattering, then if you can get some plasticine around the shaft of the boring bar, or even around the component itself that you're holding, it helps to deaden the vibration, and it works quite well. Lots of little tips that you learn from the old boys in the tool room that are not in the manual. So a little bit of plasticine in your toolbox could become very handy for you in some circumstances. Okay, that's 110, 120. Well, as you can see from that, there is the possibility that you could get a nasty happen because of the size of the section. So it pays to ease off a little bit towards the end. Otherwise you have to do it all over again. I'm at 120. I've got another 20 thou to take off. It's hard on the old legs, standing in one position. There we go. That should be it, hopefully. Undo this puzzle. So here's one of those ground blocks. It was for something, I don't know what it was, but it's all nicely ground square. The only thing is that the ends are not squared. It's Kuwaitan, it's got KW on it, so it's a Kuwaitan steel, tall steel. Okay, take that off. For the newcomer, if they can get hold of some of these used second-hand, these adjustable parallels, that's a good investment. I forget how much I paid for them. I think I bought 4 of them, 4 different sizes. I think it cost me about $35. I bought them off eBay. Some guy was selling them, and so that was a good deal. Here's another ground bar that is squared all the way round. It may not be within tenths, but it's certainly within probably half a thou, I would say. It may be even less. It's a long time now, but it was used for something. It was made for something and never got used. So it went in the box, in my toolbox, and it came home with me when I retired. So, you know, all these kind of things are handy if you don't have a lot of money to spare. I know not everybody's working in the environment, but that's what I use, see, for slip gauges. So it all works, you know. There's this here is another punch that was made for a die, blanking punch of some kind. That's the actual blank shape there. A lot of these dies that I had worked with and built were the punches had no heads on them. They were straight through, like this one here, and the die, of course, would be ground like a jigsaw puzzle, and would all fit together inside a shoe, and it might be 6 or 7 progressions. It might go up and down 7 times and feed the strip through, and at the 7th bump it would a component would drop down through the hole and into a box, and it would, that's the shape of one of the punches. So, you know, these actually on these particular dies, the die itself would be ground into sections to make apertures, and this is before EDM, and there would be the calculation for clearance would be built into the grinding, and then the stripper, the actual stripper, would be a close fit on the punch, and then the punch would be pushed up through the stripper and into the punch plate, which was above the stripper, and then this section here would be heat treated. It would be, we'd get a acetylene torch and heat this up and peen it over, you see, and that's what would stop it from dropping through the die into the die, and that's how we made the punches, and they were beautiful dies. I mean, it was a real experience to actually work with these dies. It gives you a lot of experience. So that's what I used to do. So, or the best part of it. And then, of course, when I worked at the cancer clinic, it was all for treatment, cancer treatment, and specialized equipment, technician generators that produce technician, and well, we worked for the X-ray departments and did improvements on the machines, on the treatment machines. So it was beautiful. It was beautiful there. It was a tiled floor with hard-hinge equipment and Asiera equipment and Famco and Colchester and Cardiff, and all beautiful stuff, and all exciting really, because it was just a one-off of this or a one-off of that, and special carts for emergency flying up north to convey patients back down to Winnipeg for treatment, and it was really, really nice. So I consider I've been very lucky in the type of work that I've been involved in. So anyway, let's take this out, and let's see. And there you go. There's the beginning of another insert. I have to clean it up and take the sharp edges away, and I should be ready to start assembling it in the profile block. Okay, I'll call off.